I'm happy you've brought up the CVA because I was coming to that as my next question. The Customer Voluntary Arrangement,
Yes.
was endorsed just a few days ago at the Bomas of Kenya.
Yeah.
And this particular agreement is tipped to be a very interesting twist into the future of the company. Just explain this to us. What will the CVA specifically entail so that we are able to ensure that the company doesn't go into liquidation?
There's going to be independent supervision of the plan. This is why Mr. Owen Koimburi was appointed. And his role is independent in the sense that he has to make sure that whatever has been provided is followed. So we'll be under scrutiny from the supervisor, who is an agent of the court, and also has to be independent and serve both interests, both with the creditors and Uchumi. And we'll also have the suppliers who will be working with, who will be part and parcel of how we work together in the business moving forward. So that level of transparency, I believe, should keep us on toes enough to see that the business can move forward positively. Yeah.
And for this CVA, are there any risks if it is not implemented to the fullest?
Well, if it doesn't work, then the next thing will be obviously liquidation, and everyone loses out. Yeah.
Okay.
If there's anyone who will be out there trying to see or look for ways of not making it work, a few individuals will benefit for it not to work, but many people will suffer. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, the small, medium SMEs, other local suppliers, it will be really a very sad affair for them to lose out. Investors, shareholders, it's going to be a very unfortunate event, if at all it has to go that way. Yeah.
So from this CVA and the land transaction, once it materializes, there was also an aspect of a 30% haircut.
Yes.
Could you just also explain this to us?
Well, the debt has been divided into three parts. The first part is requested is for the 30% haircut or discount. Let me not say a haircut. It's actually, it's a discount which we requested from suppliers. And the 40% is to be parked aside as convertible preference shares.
Yes.
Which means that, as the business goes, and we're going to have those 12 months reviews. We can consider maybe whether to convert or to pay them, depending on the cash flow that is going to be generated, and at that time the value of the organization. Yes. Okay. And then the other 30%, and the 30% is to be paid over a period of 5 to 6 years. It can even be shorter, because if we all work together and support, then the period can even be shorter to actually pay this debt. So really, it depends with the onboarding of the suppliers and how we can work together on this matter, because we really do need all the suppliers to be on board on this for it to work well.
Okay.
Yes.
As of 2015, Uchumi was boasting of a branch network of over 35. To date, how has this changed in terms of the size of the branches and, of course, the number of staff?
In 2015, the number of branches was around 27. And they were reduced. By the time I joined in 2016, there were about 20. Many of the non-performing branches were closed. We also decided now to limit our presence in the region. That was in Uganda and Tanzania. And we've regularly reviewed the performance of those branches, because also of the expected future change of strategy. Because if you look at even customers' behavior, consumer behaviors at the present moment, they've changed due to very many factors. There's more influx, for example, on people ordering online. There's the neighborhood stores, which people prefer to go to. And there are so many malls which have actually come into the market. So where I am, I'm not very worried about the locations. I know we can get availability. We can get good locations in future with the existing ones or even with other ones. I wouldn't be very worried about that. But it's something, even with the ones that we have, they're fairly, I can say, they're good locations, and we can even get better ones in future.
Okay. And still staying with the network size, of course, these are some of the areas that our viewers would also be keen to find out. Could you name the 5 locations that are currently still running? And from your own assessment, how is the foot traffic in terms of sales and turnover?
Okay, the ones which are open, the way they are is the Aga Khan Walk, there's the Adams Arcade, there's Jogo Road, and then there's Meru and Eldoret. And of course, we are still looking at Nairobi West and Langata Hyper. Okay, so there are 7 in total, but the ones which are operating are 5. So, and we are still in negotiations with the landlords because of the current situation as it is. The footfall, as you said, is not good because the branches are yet to be fully stocked because we've been having cash flow challenges. And we've not been having the right support from the suppliers due to fear of closure. Some suppliers will think that what will happen to Uchumi in the incident, for example, if today you are shut down or if you have to go through a winding up. So many people are thinking of the worst and the negative side. They were skeptical and scared about working with us. So I think right now, by re-engaging the suppliers and with the renewed confidence that will come into the business, we believe and expect that the footfall will start coming back. And of course, we'll have to undertake some certain marketing activities to create awareness and confidence to the consumer, to the customer, to come back to our locations.
All right. And Mohamed, in all your remarks, I've not heard you talking of a bailout from the government. Is it a viable option you're considering, or is it far-fetched?
That's a tricky question. No, of course, I'm working with the government. I'm liaising with the government on how we can work together, but not necessarily on a bailout, okay? Because it's been done before, but there are other ways in which you can work with the government to see how Uchumi can move forward. For example, working with SMEs can be a good opportunity to work with the government on how we can cooperate to see how we can be able to grow some of these local brands, local companies. So there's several engagements which are happening. There's nothing really to pinpoint at the present moment. The key thing is, of course, we are trying to see how we can be able to finalize on some, for example, like the land transaction. And of course, we are working with the government on that. And should there be anything thereafter, then it can be a separate discussion with the government. But as it is, there's been no discussion of a bailout with the government, yes.
All right.
But there are discussions of possible people who may be interested maybe to work with us in terms of investments in the business.
And Mohamed, as we wrap up, I just want to get your closing thoughts. Do you feel Uchumi can be turned around, and can it really bounce back to the Uchumi Kenyans were used to back in the good years? Is it a viable project, or is it a going concern?
Well, what the CVA entails definitely allows us to restructure the balance sheet. So automatically we start moving into the going concern aspect. Now, from an accounting definition of a going concern, then at least now we get to a good working capital ratio. I'm here and I've held on to this position because I believe it's a brand or it's a project that can work. Even the staff who are there, they're all dedicated to make sure that it's something that can be able to take off. If it was a project that we feel was doomed to fail, many of us would have been away. But we believe, and it's a good turning point for us at this moment to take advantage of the situation. We may not be the way we were before, but we may be bigger, maybe in other ways, using different strategies.
All right. Yeah. Ahmed Mohamed, who is the CEO of Uchumi, a man who continues to exude a lot of optimism when it comes to turning around a company that a bunch of his predecessors had challenges. He is very optimistic that they'll be able to turn things around if they get the right support. Well, that has been our discussion for today on the Trading Bell. And of course, it's now time for us to take a look at markets analysis. Well, that's where we wrap it up for today's episode of The Trading Bell. Interesting discussions there from Uchumi CEO. He's quite having a very interesting outlook for the retail chain. Let's see how it will pan out in the coming days. Remember, you can always just engage with us on our social media platforms appearing at the bottom end of your screen. And let's keep it locked here on KT News, where we bring you The Trading Bell. My name is Abi Agina. See you next time.